When you look back at the most influential venues of the past 50 years, it's impossible to overstate the importance of LA's Whiskey A Go Go, as it's supported and ushered in a massive range of different musical styles throughout those years. Though most are unaware, the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles was actually the third of that name, as there were venues named the Whiskey in Chicago and Washington, D.C. beforehand, and the LA Whiskey opened in January of 1964, owing its name to the classic venue in Paris. Though there are many famous venues all across LA's Sunset Strip, the Whiskey is the oldest of them, though it was closed for a few years in the 1980s. Initially owned by the same team that owned the Roxy and the Rainbow, the venue had both DJ sets and live music in its early years. And due to the way they worked the small space by suspending their DJ in a cage in the air, most point to LA's Whiskey A Go Go as the birthplace of go-go music and go-go style, and pretty much the cultural center of that entire movement. It all happened in July of 1965 while Johnny Rivers was playing with his band, and during the set that night, DJ Rhonda Lane decided to start dancing in her suspended cube above the group. Most of the audience thought it was part of the act, and due to the positive reaction from the audience, the club quickly hired dancers to do that full time. And that classic outfit of fringe dresses and white boots originated at the Whiskey. And soon after that, there would be other Whiskey A Go Go franchises all across the country. However, the Whiskey went well beyond just that sort of music, as genres from heavy metal to hair metal, from punk to prog, and everything in between found a supportive place to hone their craft at the Whiskey. Perhaps the most famous act to call LA's Whiskey A Go Go their home was The Doors, who were in fact the house band at the venue for some time. And as legend says, on the evening when Jim Morrison came up with his Oedipus rant in the middle of the end was the evening that the band was fired from being the house band. This was also the place where Elektra Records first spotted the Doors and signed them to a contract, and they would start a long list of bands who got their record deal from performing at the club. And decades later, System of a Down had a similarly important show back in 1997, and it remains massively important to the group in many ways. It was also at the Whiskey where a young band found future bassist Cliff Burton and Metallica was formed. From Led Zeppelin to The Who to Patti Smith to Buddy Miles to Guns N' Roses to Jerry Lee Lewis, nearly every major artist from the past half-century has spent their time playing at the Whiskey. And huge bands continue to play surprise shows and fan club-only shows at the venue. Though ownership and booking methods have changed over the years, the actual space and the sheer importance of the venue in terms of giving new music a place to stand has never changed in the least, and that's why after more than half a century, few clubs stand as vital to the progression of nearly every form of music as LA's Whiskey A Go Go.